Throughout his life, Edgar Cayce revealed astonishing insights about what truly happens to our souls during sleep, revelations that many found too profound to accept in his time. While his physical body lay dormant, Cayce's consciousness accessed realms beyond ordinary perception, discovering that sleep isn't merely rest, but a spiritual journey that each soul undertakes nightly. These insights, documented in over 14,000 readings, unveiled the hidden purpose of sleep that modern science is only beginning to understand. Before we continue, drop a quick "hi" in the comments and let us know where you're watching from. It really helps support the channel. Edgar Cayce often explained that sleep represents far more than a biological necessity. Sleep, he would say while in his trance state, is the natural method by which the soul may communicate with and experience the spiritual realms. During his readings, Cayce described how consciousness operates on multiple dimensions simultaneously, with sleep being the bridge between physical existence and higher spiritual planes. According to Cayce's readings, when we surrender to sleep, our souls partially detach from physical constraints. This separation occurs in stages, not unlike the modern scientific understanding of sleep cycles. However, Cayce saw beyond the neurological processes, perceiving the metaphysical journey that accompanies these biological changes. In sleep, Cayce would explain, the soul may travel to realms that correspond to its own vibrational state. This perspective echoes ancient wisdom traditions, but was articulated by Cayce with remarkable specificity. He described how during deep sleep phases, the soul can access what he called the superconscious mind, a state of awareness that transcends individual identity and connects with universal consciousness. The depth of these soul journeys, according to Cayce, depends greatly on one's spiritual development. For those focused primarily on material existence, the soul remains closer to the physical body, often processing daily experiences and emotions. This correlates with what modern psychology calls dream processing, the brain's method of integrating daily experiences. But Cayce perceived this as merely the surface level of sleep's true function. For those who have developed greater spiritual awareness, Cayce described more profound experiences during sleep. The soul may visit what he called soul schools, or places of learning in higher dimensions. Here, guidance is received, spiritual lessons are absorbed, and one's life purpose is clarified. Many people experience these as particularly vivid or meaningful dreams, though Cayce maintained that most of these experiences aren't retained in waking memory. What makes these revelations particularly fascinating is how they align with reports from various spiritual traditions worldwide while adding unique insights. Cayce's readings suggested that during sleep, souls may commune with departed loved ones, spiritual guides, or even higher spiritual entities. These encounters aren't simply subjective dream experiences, but actual meetings in what Cayce called the soul realms. The souls of individuals, in their dream or sleep state, may communicate with those who have passed into other spheres of consciousness, Cayce stated in reading 853-8. This perspective challenges the conventional understanding of dreams as merely internal psychological phenomena, proposing instead that some dream experiences represent genuine spiritual encounters. Perhaps most intriguing was Cayce's explanation of why we typically don't remember these profound sleep experiences. According to his readings, the vibrational difference between physical consciousness and spiritual awareness is so vast that the memory of these experiences cannot fully translate into brain function. Only fragments filter through, often appearing as symbolic dreams or intuitive feelings upon waking. Cayce identified a moment of particular spiritual significance during the sleep cycle, the instant just before awakening. In this transitional state, he claimed, the soul brings back impressions and guidance from higher realms. This explains why many people report receiving creative solutions or insights upon waking, seemingly from nowhere. These are actually the fruits of the soul's nocturnal journeys. What makes Cayce's sleep revelations particularly relevant today is their practical dimension. He didn't view these soul journeys as merely interesting metaphysical curiosities, but as essential aspects of human development. Through his readings, he provided specific recommendations for enhancing the spiritual quality of sleep and improving recall of these experiences. Set a specific intention before sleep. Cayce would advise those seeking guidance. The mind can be directed toward specific questions or concerns, and answers may be received during the soul's journey. This practice, now sometimes called dream incubation in modern psychology, was described by Cayce as a natural ability that could be developed through consistent practice. Cayce also emphasized the importance of sleep position. He frequently recommended sleeping with the head to the east and feet to the west to align with Earth's magnetic currents, facilitating easier soul travel and better recall upon waking. While science has yet to confirm this specific claim, research increasingly recognizes the impact of geomagnetic fields on human physiology. The relationship between diet and soul travel during sleep featured prominently in Cayce's readings as well. He advised against heavy meals before bedtime, noting that digestive activity tethers consciousness more firmly to the physical body, limiting the soul's freedom to travel. Modern sleep science now confirms that digestive processes can indeed disrupt sleep quality, though for physiological rather than metaphysical reasons. What many found most challenging about Cayce's sleep revelations was his assertion that during sleep, the soul experiences a form of judgment, not in the religious sense of punishment, but as a natural assessment of one's spiritual progress. In sleep, he stated in reading 5754-3, the soul sees itself as it is in relation to its creator. This self-reflection process, according to Cayce, helps guide the soul's development and influences waking decisions, often below the threshold of conscious awareness. Cayce described how souls of similar vibration or purpose often gather during sleep states, creating what might be called spiritual communities. These gatherings serve multiple functions: healing, planning collaborative earthly efforts, or working together on spiritual projects that extend beyond physical life. This concept resonates with reports from many spiritual traditions of soul groups, or soul families, that work together across multiple lifetimes. The phenomenon of shared dreams, where two or more people report experiencing the same dream scenario, was explained by Cayce as actual meetings of souls during sleep. While modern psychology might attribute such occurrences to coincidence or suggestion, Cayce maintained that souls can and do arrange to meet during sleep, particularly when they share strong bonds or have joint work to accomplish. For those experiencing nightmares or disturbing dreams, Cayce offered a perspective different from conventional psychology. While acknowledging that some troubling dreams reflect unresolved psychological issues, he also described how certain nightmares represent encounters with lower vibrational entities or the soul's resistance to spiritual truths it isn't ready to face. His remedy wasn't psychological analysis alone, but spiritual protection practices before sleep. Prayer, Cayce emphasized, creates a protective field around the sleeper, ensuring that the soul travels only to beneficial realms. This practice, he claimed, could transform the quality of dream experiences and facilitate more meaningful spiritual connections during sleep. Perhaps one of the most profound aspects of Cayce's sleep revelations concerns individuals in comas or unconscious states. According to his readings, these souls are often more active and aware on spiritual planes than those experiencing normal sleep. The prolonged separation from physical awareness can allow for deep spiritual work and healing that serves the soul's development, even as the body appears unresponsive. Cayce also addressed the phenomenon of insomnia from a spiritual perspective. Chronic sleep difficulties, he suggested, sometimes indicate a soul's resistance to facing certain spiritual truths or lessons that would be encountered during sleep journeys. This resistance manifests physically as an inability to surrender to the sleep state. His recommended remedy included not just physical adjustments, but addressing the underlying spiritual resistance. What drew so many to Cayce's perspective on sleep was its hopeful implications. Sleep, rather than being simply a biological necessity or period of unconsciousness, becomes a daily opportunity for spiritual growth and connection. Each night offers the possibility of receiving guidance, healing, and expanded awareness, if one approaches sleep with appropriate intention and preparation. The revelations about sleep that came through Edgar Cayce challenge us to reconsider this daily experience that occupies nearly a third of our lives. They invite us to approach sleep not merely as rest, but as a sacred journey of the soul, a journey that connects us with deeper aspects of ourselves and the greater spiritual reality of which we are part. What makes these insights particularly powerful is how they bridge science and spirituality. While described in spiritual terms, many of Cayce's observations about sleep have found validation in scientific research, from the importance of sleep for memory consolidation and emotional processing to the recognition of distinct sleep phases with different brainwave patterns. Cayce simply perceived the spiritual dimensions of these processes. Throughout his thousands of readings, Edgar Cayce consistently described the soul's nocturnal journeys with remarkable detail and coherence. He spoke of how the soul, freed from complete identification with the physical body during sleep, navigates realms that correspond to its own level of development and current needs. These journeys, he maintained, follow universal spiritual laws rather than random wanderings. According to Cayce's readings, there exists what might be called a geography of sleep consciousness, distinct regions or vibrational states that the soul may visit. These range from what he called borderland states, close to physical awareness, to increasingly refined spiritual dimensions where higher guidance and healing become available. One particularly fascinating aspect of Cayce's sleep revelations concerns how physical factors influence these soul journeys. He described how planetary alignments, solar activity, and even weather patterns can affect the ease with which the soul detaches during sleep and the realms it can access. Modern research on bioelectromagnetics and human consciousness is beginning to explore similar connections between geophysical conditions and states of awareness. For those seeking to remember more of their soul's sleep experiences, Cayce recommended keeping a dream journal beside the bed and recording impressions immediately upon waking, before physical consciousness fully reasserts itself. This practice, he claimed, strengthens the bridge between spiritual and physical awareness, gradually improving recall of these experiences. Perhaps the most profound implication of Cayce's sleep revelations is that we are never truly alone or disconnected. During sleep, even the most isolated individual has access to communion with higher consciousness and loving guidance. This perspective offers particular comfort to those experiencing loneliness or separation in waking life. Sleep, in Cayce's understanding, also provides an opportunity for healing that goes beyond physical rest. He described how during certain sleep phases, spiritual energies can more directly influence the physical body, accelerating healing processes. This healing potential can be enhanced, he suggested, through specific prayers or affirmations before sleep that invite such energies. The relationship between sleep and spiritual development formed a central theme in Cayce's readings. He described how consistent spiritual practices in waking life facilitate more conscious and productive soul journeys during sleep. Conversely, meaningful sleep experiences often inspire greater spiritual commitment upon waking, creating a positive feedback loop of spiritual growth. What happens to your soul while you sleep? According to the extensive readings of Edgar Cayce, your soul engages in its most important work, connecting with its true nature beyond physical limitations, receiving guidance for your earthly journey, and contributing to purposes larger than individual existence. Sleep becomes not an unconscious void, but a return to greater wholeness. These revelations emerged from Cayce's unique ability to access a state of consciousness beyond ordinary awareness, a state he entered through what appeared outwardly to be sleep itself. This self-demonstrating aspect of his work lends particular credibility to his insights about sleep consciousness. He didn't merely theorize about these realms, he navigated them directly while witnesses observed and recorded his communications. Cayce's perspective invites us to approach each night's sleep with greater reverence and intention, recognizing it as a sacred threshold between worlds of experience. Rather than being merely a biological necessity, sleep becomes a spiritual practice, an opportunity for communion with our deeper nature and the greater reality in which we participate. The soul's journey during sleep as described by Edgar Cayce, reveals our multidimensional nature, that we exist simultaneously on multiple levels of reality, though our waking consciousness typically perceives only the physical dimension. Sleep allows us to experience these other aspects of our existence, even if we bring back only fragments of memory upon waking. What makes these revelations particularly significant is their practical application. By approaching sleep with appropriate preparation and intention, we can gradually enhance our awareness of these soul journeys and bring their benefits more fully into our waking lives. This practice, according to Cayce, represents not an esoteric indulgence but a natural birthright, an essential aspect of being fully human. The sleep revelations that came through Edgar Cayce ultimately remind us that consciousness is far vaster than our conventional understanding suggests. Each night, as we surrender to sleep, we participate in a cosmic dance of consciousness that transcends physical limitations and connects us with the greater spiritual reality from which we emerge and to which we will return. Within the tapestry of Edgar Cayce's extensive psychic readings, his revelations about the soul's journey during sleep stand among his most profound contributions to our understanding of human consciousness. These insights invite us to reconsider an experience we often take for granted, revealing sleep as a gateway to spiritual dimensions that complement and inform our physical existence. Sleep, in Cayce's understanding, represents not an absence of consciousness, but a shift in consciousness, from external awareness to inner realms where the soul can commune more directly with spiritual realities. This perspective transforms our understanding of nearly a third of our lives, revealing these hours not as lost time, but as essential spiritual experience. The practical wisdom embedded in Cayce's sleep revelations offers a path to greater wholeness, a way of bridging the artificial division between spiritual and material aspects of life. By approaching sleep with appropriate reverence and preparation, we open ourselves to guidance, healing, and expanded awareness that can transform our waking experience. Perhaps most importantly, Cayce's insights about sleep remind us that spiritual reality is not remote or separate from daily life, but interpenetrates every aspect of our existence, including the universal human experience of sleep. Each night offers an opportunity to remember our larger identity and purpose, a remembrance that, even when not consciously recalled, nourishes the soul and guides our journey through the waking world. The revelations about sleep that came through Edgar Cayce ultimately point to a universe more alive with consciousness, more richly interconnected, and more responsive to human intention than conventional views suggest. They invite us to approach each night's sleep as a sacred journey, an opportunity to reconnect with our true nature and the loving wisdom that guides all creation. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of Edgar Cayce's profound insights about what happens to your soul while you sleep. If these revelations resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. We read every single one. Your engagement through likes and shares helps these spiritual insights reach others who might benefit from them. Subscribe to our channel for more explorations of consciousness and spiritual wisdom from history's greatest mystics and seers. Remember, in sleep we don't escape reality, we return to it.